What's up, you guys? It's your boy DJC Gaming here, and today, my friends, we're going to be starting up Season 7, or Part 6 of our Walking Dead rewrite with the Wheel of Doom. Now, I'm going to kind of go through this intro before we get straight into this. I just wanted to say, um, again, it's going to be a little bit different. Um, um, I'm not just busy, but I also want to try and make these the best videos that I can be. So there's not going to be much editing, but I'm also going to change something up here, guys. So bear with me. I'm going to do it for this season. Let me know how you guys like it. But I'm going to be doing like full episode breakdowns. So I'm going to record segments of every important, I guess you could say important episode. If something important happens in an episode that I feel like I need to go through it, I will make a video, or I will make a segment of I will make a segment and put it into this video. So episode one, or I guess episode one and two are going to be connected because it is going to be very similar. Episode one is going to is basically going to be the exact same, no changes except for the deaths. It's episode two that's going to be completely different. And I wrote this, so I hope you guys are gonna like this. Um, and I'm gonna try this. I don't know if this is gonna work. Let me know if you guys like this. But we're gonna get right in to episode 2 of our Walking Dead rewrite for season 7. Alright, so we're gonna quick talk about episode 1 before we get into what I've come up with for episode 2. But episode 1 is gonna be the exact same pretty much. Rick still gets taken into the RV with Negan, and we get to see that dynamic immediately, and we get to see the flashbacks of what happened, um, and it's just all fresh in his mind. This, like, everything is basically the exact same except for the deaths. We first see Eugene be killed after they tried to trick them, and then we see Enid be killed because Negan is a dick. Um, and it's emotional and brutal. But we also get introduced to much more of Negan's humor. Um, and in the finale, someone commented this, and I really liked it. When they're all, when he first walks out, when Negan first walks out, he says something like like if you like if you do something that I don't like, cut out the other boy's eye and feed it to their peg leg leader. I really liked that. So we're making that a thing. That is what's happened. But that adds on to his nickname. And Negan's nickname for Rick in the original was the prick named Rick, or Rick the Prick. Like, he called him that a lot. So we're going to add on to that, to the prick named Rick with the peg leg, kind of like, or peg leg prick, like kind of something like that, just to add more to like the humor of Negan. I think that'd be kind of interesting to see. Um, but then we get the moment with Carl in the original, this time with Sophia. Now, Rick, um, I, I've this has been brought up multiple times by um, Boba Fett, multiple times, that it very much Sophia is not Rick's kid. Um, Sophia has kind of been adopted by other people in the group, but I mean, the feeling isn't as strong as it would be if Sophia was like actually Rick's, like it is with Carl. but Negan is going to force Rick to cut off Sophia's arm. And he doesn't want to do it, but then he's like, okay, I'm going to. And then he tells him to stop, and then they all leave. And they all leave, and that is where the first episode ends with the Negan driving off. Now, I know that we get more scenes of them kind of like talking and like a little bit of the aftermath, but that'll make more sense of why I cut this episode short to basically be just that, and it ends with Negan and them driving off, and the group sitting there on the ground, crying and just flabbergasted at what has happened. So let's get straight into episode 2. Episode 2, The Stolen. Rick sits on the ground, staring blankly at Negan as he drives off with the rest of his men. The sound of the group crying fades to the background, as images of Enid smiling while talking with Dwayne, Ron, and Sophia fill his mind. Sophia quickly gets off the ground after being threatened. She rushes over to Enid's body as the tears almost run dry on her face. She kneels down, reaching for her friend's hand. Taking the limp, cold hand, she holds it tightly to her body. Jim checks on Patricia as she kneels on the ground crying. After making sure she is okay, he moves over to join Daryl with checking on Rick. Patricia kneels on the ground, still crying, her body pale and sweaty and much worse than when they had started their journey. Abe stares blankly at Eugene's bashed skull. Tears are trying to escape but are unable to. His fists clenched so hard that they turn an even brighter white. Rosita walks over to join Abe, tears still freshly fallen as she looks at her friend, while the blood from Eugene is still fresh on her cheek. She tries to talk with Abe, but he just stays there staring at Eugene's body, not moving a muscle. Daryl kneels on the ground, shocked at what has just transpired. A sense of anger filled in his blood as he watched Donnie take Miranda away, knowing that he could have stopped him when he had killed Tina. Aaron just knelt on the ground, frozen at what he had just witnessed. What if he was chosen to die? What if he had had his head bashed in? But then another thought rose. Was he ready to die? Noah looked over at Enid and Eugene's bodies lying brutally beaten on the ground. Then he thought back at what that man had said. Would he really have done that? Fed his other eye to Rick. Who was this monster that had just done this? Noah was angry and scared, but most of all, he was frightened at what his friends were going to do next. The group was in ruin as they tried wrapping their minds around what just happened. After several minutes of painful, agonizing waiting, they decide that it's time to move the bodies. The closest place is Hilltop, Rick says. We'll move them there. And the group loads Eugene and Enid's bodies into the RV as they pile behind and head off towards the hilltop. So, we're going to take a little intermission from this, and we have our first wheel spin. So, Patricia will be staying at Hilltop, being the Maggie. right? Now, I'm thinking we could just have Jim stay there with her. But let's make it a little fun. So, we're actually going to do a dice for this because it is going to be one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. How many dice do we have? We do have a D8. If it lands on a D8, that means I get to choose, I'm going to say. So we are going to roll. So Sophia is, I'll just move these two up here because they're not in it. One, two, and so on. Let's roll this dice. It's going to be two. Hell, Jim anyways. That makes my life so much easier. All right, perfect. So Jim will be staying with Patricia, and then we will eventually see like who is going to become the new leader of Hilltop, but that will be in a future segment in these episodes that we will figure that out. Let's continue on with the episode. The group brings both bodies to Hilltop. While Jim and Patricia meet with Dr. Carson, the others begin burying their dead, at least the people who can. Jesus and Cal offer to help Rosita, Aaron, Sophia, and Noah with burying the dead. Daryl sits down with Rick on the outside of the wall, while Abe sits in the RV just staring blankly into nothing. We need to be ready to fight these people. We need to talk with Gregory about them joining, Daryl says, as Rick just shakes his head. They have Miranda. They have an army. This group has already killed two people that I cared about. I can't let them hurt anybody else, Rick states. Daryl looks at his brother in his red, stained eyes. They'll keep hurting us no matter what. We need to fight. We'll find an army. I heard Jesus talking about another community. We can take them, Daryl exclaims as Rick just stands up. Rick walks back towards the RV as Abe watches from inside. Come on, Rick. For Enid. For Eugene, Daryl says, trying to convince his friend. Rick continues walking away from Daryl before he turns slightly back at his friend. No. Alright, so, episode 3 is going to be titled The Well. So, we open with the exact same shot that um, that we see in the original with Jesse this time looking around, seeing all the dead people, or yeah, all the walkers flashing in and out of being walkers and normal people, and yeah, so we see like all of that, and we see them move closer towards the kingdom, and then before we cut off, we see a wall with guards standing at it, and then it cuts to black, and we get the title, and after the title, we cut straight to a dark screen. We hear Negan talking to Miranda. He takes her hood off, and she's looking around, and she sees all of these other women standing in a room, right, with no other men in there. So she gets the idea, and she immediately turns around and slaps Negan in the face. But instead of being angry, Negan just smiles and just says, I knew I liked you. I think that is a really good introduction to Negan on a more personal level. And if you couldn't tell, we are currently combining episodes 2 and 3, I believe, together. Yeah, together. She looks around, and we get to see the first glimpse of the sanctuary, really just in Negan's wife's room, and then Miranda is left there, and then we're now following Negan, so we're leaving Miranda behind as she goes and talks to the other wives, and they comfort her, and we follow Negan as he goes to um, this person's room, another savior's room. So I have a list of all of like I would say the side saviors, like the more main saviors, and one of these people is going to be our new Dwight. Um, and so maybe I should take off like Frankie, Amber, and Tanya. Hold on, I'm gonna take off perfect these three because those are his wives. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're gonna spin this really quick for kind of like who is going to be the new Dwight. All right, so we just gotta spin this. So um we follow Negan as he walks into Gavin's quarters. Okay, so Gavin is going to be our new Dwight. So, with that being said, um, I think that Gavin should be kind of like more focused on as the new Dwight. Or, I mean, I guess we could just give it to Donnie. But I mean, Donnie also doesn't have anything like that's like redeemable. But I mean, Gavin did. Gavin seemed like a nicer guy. So maybe, and what they he pretty Negan pretty much killed a yeah like a child. So I think Gavin is kind of like maybe I shouldn't. Maybe this isn't the place for me. And since Gavin will be taking more of Dwight's role, right? Or actually, yeah, no. So yeah, but then actually need to. Oh my God. Now we need to actually add a bunch more characters. Alright, so just give me a moment. Okay. Alright, perfect. So, now we need to shuffle. Alright, so then we have Gordon's death. So we're still kind of doing that thing. So we see Gavin and Negan talking. I'm gonna put Gavin up here more, kind of like there. So we see Gavin and Negan. They're talking about somebody like escaped kind of thing. We're just gonna spin this really quick to figure out who escaped, and Gavin has to go and track him down. It's gonna be Roy. This stuff doesn't matter too much. It's really just to kind of like mix and match some of the other like minor characters. But so Gavin goes out, and it's kind of like a little side thing going on of him going out to find Roy. Um, and let's see if I remember which one Roy is. Roy should be. Wait. Shit. I'm blanking. Hmm. It is that guy. Okay. So Gavin leaves the sanctuary, right? And then we kind of get to see more of the sanctuary as we follow now Gavin getting introduced to him more. We see how we kind of get to see how the sanctuary is like constructed and stuff and like how it looks and stuff. And then we get to see like the outskirts of it. We get and we meet up. We see Gavin and or we see Roy walking, and Gavin catches up to him, and starts bringing him back, but Roy's like, I can't go back. I can't do it. Please, like, it's horrible there. You should know. And, um, I don't know. Gavin, who can, I don't know. I mean, we could say, like, somebody that Gavin knows isn't able to get the medicine that they need. Like, just to, like, show the system being flawed that they have, and show Gavin kind of more or less not being like not wanting to follow the rule anymore, and then inevitably we see um Gavin shoot and kill Roy after asking him to. We do see Gavin shoot and kill Roy. After that, we cut straight back to Jesse waking up in the kingdom. Ron is sitting there in the room. So this is a very quick scene, but it's a very quick scene that like shows like what the sanctuary is and stuff. But a very quick scene. Um, then we cut to Jessie in the kingdom, her waking up with Ron there. He wheels her out of the her little like room that she's in into the greater kingdom. We get to see the kingdom in all of its glory and all of its like serenity and happiness. Um, but we also see Ron saying like kind of like hinting at like kind of like hyping this place up while also being like, but Alexandria is better. Like this place may be good, but Alexandria was better. Alexandria was our home. Kind of trying to convince his mom to go back. Jesse talks about not wanting to go back there with how much like killing is going on, with everything that happened with the satellite outpost, all that stuff. The wolves are having to do that. All of that stuff just really weighs down on her. Especially her son being killed, Sam, by Pete. Like it's very much a lot for her. So right now she is just trying to just get by. Um, Ron then wheels her in to meet Ezekiel, and we get that massive scene towards the end of the episode. But that doesn't end the episode. The end of the episode is Ron, like, Jesse doesn't really want to stay, and she wants to leave as soon as she is better, and we slowly like so like some time passes. We see her getting ready to leave after meeting Ezekiel and just immediately just being like, "Nope, I can't do this." She tries to leave, but Ron stops her, and um, Ron explains how annoyed he was with his mother just leaving without even saying goodbye to him. Because Jesse just left, and Ron went with Rick to go and find her, but they had no idea where she was, if she was okay. It's just a very significant moment in Ron's character too, because he's very much like he loves his mom, but this is the first time where he is actively like, "Mom, this is you were being dumb. That was a stupid decision. Why did you do that?" And he tries to reason with her to stay here before going back home, but Jessie doesn't want to go back home. She doesn't want to stay here either. She just wants to be have some alone time, especially after whoops, especially after like her and Rick got together. It's just so much that she just needs time to herself. And the episode ends with her leaving and going into the woods to go find a place to live. Well, the place to live, like the house near the woods that Ezekiel, I guess, like pointed out to her because she expressed wanting to leave. And that is where episode 3, The Well, ends. Now, I'm going to go through. We're gonna, I think, go straight into episode 4. So, hope you guys liked episode 3. Let's go into episode 4. Episode 4 is going to be the exact same, pretty much. This episode is still going to be called Service. It is basically the exact same. So, Negan comes early to his rendezvous or to his meetup with Rick to take the stuff. He's early. They don't have enough. So then they just start ransacking the place. Everybody's really, really angry. But Dwight, Sherry, and Michelle have to kind of like hide, more or less, because they don't want to get found out. So I would say like somebody is like helping them to kind of like get out and like stay hidden. Probably Clara. I mean, she probably knows how to stay hidden. So I would say probably her. Like she's like taking them out and kind of like chilling with them. 'Cause she wasn't at the thing. It also gives her something else to do. But yeah. So they go through all of this, and it turns out after Sophia, after they try and take some medication, Sophia threatens two saviors with a gun that she found at the satellite outpost. I'm pretty sure she was there. If she wasn't, then someone gave it to her. But but she's threatening them, and Negan comes in and is like, "Whoa, whoa, we can't have that, Rick. Show me where your babies are." And he takes them, and Rick immediately is like, he takes him to the guns, and it turns out two guns are missing, and somebody is held captive by Negan, and that is going to be a side character. It basically just can't be Michelle, but it can be any of the other people. Let's see who it's going to be though. Oh shit, it can't be Ron either. I kind of forgot about that. It cannot be Ron, but it can be anybody else. Okay, perfect. It can be Francine. Perfect. So Francine is currently being held captive by Negan. This is also where Gavin first gets introduced to Alexandria, and Gavin is actually the one that sees Dwight, Sherry, and Michelle leaving with Clara, but Gavin doesn't say anything, and I don't know, he kind of lets out like maybe like a little smile or something. But they do end up finding the gun. Yeah, they do end up finding the guns, but somebody is actually hiding those guns, and we need to figure out who it is going to be. So Rick, Daryl, Father Gabe, everybody is scrambling to try and find the guns, but two people are actually currently missing. One of them is Patricia, who is at the other place, so it can't be her. Oh my gosh. Rosita is hiding the guns. So Rosita is hiding the guns, so Rick gets really mad at Rosita. But Abe is trying to like kind of like get on her side, but is also kind of like, why did you do that? And Rosita later explains like, we can't keep living in fear of these people. We need to do something. And speaking of also doing something, somebody is out practicing their shooting, and is trying to hunt a deer. Okay, well, it can't be Jesse. Jesse's currently not here. Who else could it be though? Okay, it can be Dwayne. So Dwayne kinda is outside practicing their shooting. But one other person is out with Rosita currently looking for a gun to specifically shoot Negan. Okay, well, it can't be Dwight. Jimmy's still alive? Wow. Kind of forgot about that. Jimmy hasn't done anything. If it lands on somebody that we can't use, I straight up ooh, Noah. I like that. Noah. Noah is out looking for a gun, and just a little bit of a spoiler. This is the person that will also shoot at Negan in episode 8. So, Noah will be the one to take a shot at Negan and end up hitting Lucille in episode 8. But we'll get to that when we get there. I just want to let you know that the way that this story follows, that is what happens. So Noah is the one out looking for a gun with Rosita. Rosita has two guns actually hidden, um, that she kind of forgot about, when everything went to, or maybe Noah was out. You know what? It doesn't really make sense because Rosita hid them so that she could keep them for when Negan came by. So it would make no sense for Noah to be out looking for a gun. So who is out there with Noah looking for a gun? Um, Noah and Noah. All right, it seems like the wheel wants it to just be Noah. We'll see. Let's see. Oh my God. We're giving it to we're gonna give it to Jimmy. So Noah and Jimmy are actually out looking for a gun to kill Negan with. Alright. Noah and Jimmy are out looking for a gun to kill Jimmy or to kill Negan with. Rosita hid two guns for when Negan came, but unfortunately they actually read the manifest and they know and they threatened to kill Francine. Did Olivia die? Am I dumb? When did she die? Wait, what? What the hell is... Mm? Oh, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, never mind. Um, yeah. So Noah and Jimmy are out looking for a gun. Rosita hid two guns. Francine is currently being held captive, but everything works out in the end. But Rick is very mad at Rosita for doing this, and then Dwayne comes back with the deer that ends up being stolen, and Dwayne is a little annoyed about that. But Dwayne also is very much, even though him and Enid were friends, Dwayne is very much still in his like father's mindset because his father died like protecting him, and his father would want him to keep on with this kind of ideal. So he tries to do it the best that he can, but we'll see if that will work or if he'll eventually snap. We'll see. We don't know. But we don't know, I mean, I haven't come up with it yet. But by the end of the episode, Negan leaves and it's carnage. Like there's barely anything left at Alexandria, and Jimmy and Noah get back and they were able to find a gun with one bullet left. So that is where this episode ends with Noah and Jimmy coming back from their little run with a gun. And that was episode 5 or episode 4, sorry, Service. Now let's talk about episode 5. All right, episode 5 is going to be titled Go Getters. This episode is basically going to be the exact same, focusing mainly on the hilltop, specifically with Jim and Patricia. They're kind of like them trying to settle down here. Um, but then we also have the Walker attack still with the Saviors sending in the Walkers with like the sound system thing. So we get to see this badass moments from Patricia and from Jim, kind of getting to see a lot of their kind of like their skill that they've learned throughout the apocalypse, with Patricia driving the tractor over the car with the radio on, drawing them in. It's super cool. We get to see some Jesus badass moments. Um, and it's really just the three of them. We see Gregory kind of cowering. Um, and it's just a really good scene or part of the episode to see them kind of come together to save this new home of theirs. Um, we also, as this is all going on throughout the episode, we actually see Dwayne and Sophia kind of go on this little adventure to Hilltop, mainly because Sophia wants to, um, Sophia wants to see Jim and Patricia. Dwayne wants to go with her to protect her, kind of like I hang out, I guess you could say. Um, and we get to see their bond and them have a very good relationship, friendship starting out, and then maybe they start getting feelings for each other. It's very, very like cute scenes, but then as like it starts out really cute and stuff, but then as they get further or closer to Hilltop, the truth starts to come out, and Sophia talks about how much she wants to kill Negan, while Dwayne talks about how his father wouldn't want that. Then Sophia starts talking about her father, and and then their mothers. They talk about the family that they've lost, while also Dwayne trying to get this idea of forgiveness that he learned with his father, pass it on to Sophia, but she is not understanding it. She is blinded by rage because Enid was her friend. And Dwayne talks about how his father would never want to kill Negan. He would want to find a way to um, to reconcile with him and find a middle ground. Little does he know, in the original, shit happens. But back at out Hilltop, we see Gregory trying to rat out Jim and Patricia to Simon. It doesn't work. Jesus helps them, and the episode ends after Patricia talks to Jesus about wanting to kill, about wanting to find the sanctuary. He she sends Jesus, and while we also see Dwayne running into Hilltop, telling Patricia and Jim, Sophia's gone in the truck. She's going to the sanctuary. And that's where the episode is going to end. And I think that that's a really good way to end that episode with Dwayne coming in. So Dwayne is currently at Hilltop, where he is for right now. We'll see how long he stays there for. So that was episode 5. Um, yeah, I think episode 5 is really strong. But let's just get right into episode 6. All right, let's just get straight into that. So episode 6 is titled "Swear," is going to be pretty much the exact same. I know that people don't like this episode, but I'm changing it up a little bit, where we see the Sasha and Tyrese stuff in Oceanside and all that stuff, and we'll figure out which one goes to Oceanside and which one vanishes. But we also get to see, I'm going to talk about this really quick. We also get to see Miranda at the sanctuary in this episode to kind of like break up the kind of, I would say, kind of boringish Oceanside stuff with some exciting Miranda in the sanctuary talking about escaping. Um, and we see her talking with the wives that she's kind of become friends with. The wives would include, I'm going to put them all together on this on this list here. We've got Frankie, Amber, and Tanya. These are the 3 wives that I have added. There's many more, but these are the 3 that I've added because they're like the main ones. We see her bonding with them. Um, and we also see Amber kind of in that suicidal state. Well, I guess that doesn't happen yet, does it? When does Mark get his face freaking lit up? I think that's in episode 7. Wait, no, it is in episode 7, but it's a prerequisite. She's feeling really sad because she cheated on Negan with Mark. So we get to see Amber tell Miranda that and the other wives, and they're consoling her, making her feel better. We see Miranda very much as like not just, I don't want to say as she is. She's kind of like taking a motherly role to these women and a role modely role, I guess you could say, to these women to make them feel better about themselves and talking about escaping, but they can't escape. Their families are here. They're doing this to protect their families. But then they start talking about how they can get Miranda out to go and help her friends and get her family and get back to her family. So we get this kind of more united front from the wives in the group, and I think that it'd be a kind of a cool, kind of like girl empower moment in the show without it being too strong and too on the nose. I kind of like this Miranda being all like super nice and like just trying to figure out a way to escape. But then we see Gavin listening in on this. Then Gavin takes Miranda to the side. Miranda thinks that he's going to tell Negan. So what Gavin doesn't know is that she has like maybe like a pencil or something she's holding, and she's getting ready. She's gonna attack him to try and escape. But he like notices this, grabs her arm and says, "Not yet. Not not now. When the moment is right, I'll help you get out of here." And we get to see Miranda kind of come to the realization there are other good people in here. Not just the wives, but there are other good people. But at the same time, we also get this like untrusting nature. Can we trust him? The audience knows that we can maybe trust Gavin a little bit more than Miranda does, but Miranda is like, can I trust him? So we kind of get that dilemma of can we trust Gavin and will she trust him? So it kind of is like a nice, I think a nice addition to the episode to then set up future events in um, other episodes. But the rest of this episode, the other parts of this episode are, but the rest of the episode is all the Oceanside stuff. Whoops. There we go. I'm gonna make sure that everything's good. Okay, perfect. The rest of the stuff is Oceanside stuff. So, before we can get into the Oceanside stuff, let's explain what's been going on with Tyrese and Sasha because we haven't seen them at all this season. Um, Tyrese and Sasha have been on a scouting mission to try and find supplies for the group. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea that Eugene and Enid have been killed. They have no idea that the Saviors have taken control of the group. So everything is they're very clueless about everything going on, but they're like it's very much kind of the same scenes, but I think it makes a better like bond between the two of them than Tara and Heath, because that was kind of like, okay, cool, we got some people here. But this kind of is like they are brother and sister, and you kind of get like a special bond between them already. So they talk about heading back, not wanting to go back. Tyrese wants to go back and see Donna, but Sasha doesn't want to go back she because she kind of hmm, maybe Sasha doesn't want to go back because they haven't found enough stuff. Kind of like that. I think that dilemma also kind of builds, sort of, kind of. Again, this is a quick little episode thing, but Sasha and Tyrese they find themselves on a bridge. Tyrese doesn't really want it. He doesn't trust it, but Sasha's like, there could be supplies on that bridge. We should go and take a look. So they do, and walkers come out and start attacking, and one of them falls off the bridge while the other one seemingly is devoured by walkers. Now, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? What should we do? I think Sasha heads, Tyrese tails. I think we'll go that route, and this is for who falls off the bridge and they would then stay in the show. So let's see. I'm very stressed. I don't want either of these characters to leave. I like both of their characters, and but I do think that it's very interesting that that they think that they're gonna lose their sibling. So no matter what, I think it's a very intriguing story, no matter what. But tails Sasha, heads or head Sasha, tails Tyrese. So Tyrese falls off the bridge, and Sasha is seemingly devoured by walkers. But by the end of the episode, we find out that she made it, but she's gone. She just disappears and will appear in The Ones Who Live once we get to that show. But Tyrese makes it to Oceanside. Do I have a little Oceanside? I don't actually. I don't have a little Oceanside little thing here. Huh. Alright, well, they're out of Never Seen Again category and onto not available / on the road. Even though he's at Oceanside right now. So he washes up on shore of this place, and these two girls, Cindy and Rachel, they're looking for fish or like supply something. They're looking for something on the beach. They find him, and the little girl Rachel wants to kill him, but Cindy doesn't because he hasn't done anything. But then eventually Tyrese wakes up. He's kind of very much disorientated. He's very much hurt because the last thing he saw was possibly his sister dying. So he's very emotional. But then we see Cindy there, and he sees her, and then he kind of says like thank you, or like were you the one that gave me this? Thank you for that. Like very much the kind person that he is deep inside, like on the surface, like very kind, but he's also very like unstable with the death of his sister. So then eventually he he makes it into this place, Oceanside, and he's desperate. He wants to get back to the bridge to see if Sasha's there. So, but then eventually he sees that there's a bunch of guns, like a gun locker, and then they start shooting at him, but he's able to like make it out or like kind of like be okay. He spares this girl Beatrice before being knocked out by Cindy. Then he wakes up, he explains everything, and they kind of explain what happened, same like in the original, before Tyrese, before Cindy, Tyrese, Beatrice, and Kathy, before they move out, and they try and get him back to the bridge. Beatrice and Kathy try and kill him. Cindy tries to help. Yada, yada, yada. He makes it back to the bridge with the help of Cindy, and he finds that Sasha is nowhere to be found. All he finds is a little card that I don't know, because PPP didn't really make any sense. I'm thinking since this is will be confirmed to be in the Ones Who Live with the CRM, that it's going to be a card that says CRM on it. So he finds that, and he finds the RV missing. So then he starts walking back to his home that is completely different than when he left. So that was episode 6, Swear. I hope it was a little better than the actual episode with the addition of the stuff in the sanctuary. But let me know what you guys think about this episode specifically, because I know that this episode is not very popular with fans. Let me know what you guys think about um, this new version of the episode. Um, Now let's jump right in to episode 7. All right, episode 7, titled "Sing Me a Song," is basically the exact same story with Sophia and the sanctuary, though the stuff in Alexandria is a little bit different. So, so first off, Sophia and Jesus, they're in the truck. Jesus jumps out. Sophia doesn't. Sophia gets to the sanctuary and then takes out two saviors. So we're going to go over here to this wheel and we're going to spin this twice to see who is going to be getting who he is going to be, she is going to be killing. So it's going to be Duke and who else? Who else is Sophia going to absolutely destroy? Okay, well, one of the wives doesn't make any sense. I really shouldn't have put like the wives and stuff on. Uh, Huck. Huck works. Huck. Perfect. So Duke and Huck. Uh, okay, I know that this is Huck. Oh God, why are you lagging so much, bro? Okay, we've got Huck. I don't remember which one Duke is, so just give me one moment. All right, I've found him, Duke. So as Sophia gets out of the truck, she shoots down Duke and Huck before Negan kind of finds her and prevents her from killing any more people. And it's just a super kind of like cool badass moment for it's just a super cool badass moment for Sophia to see her take out a couple of saviors. Then we see Negan give Sophia a tour. We see her we see him bring her to his wives to introduce her to, oh my God, introduce her to them. We see her and Miranda's interaction, kind of just like stunned, and then we see him have a weird sort of kindness to her as well, even though she literally just killed two of his men. He has this kindness to her that he doesn't really show to anybody else. But the rest of the stuff in the sanctuary is pretty much the same. With we get to see Mark get his face burnt off. That's this dude, Mark. We get to see him get his face burnt off. All that good stuff. But yeah, like it's just we see a different side of Negan than we normally do, while also getting introduced. I guess not introduced, but get to see kind of like life as a savior. Now, the stuff in Alexandria is a little bit different. We actually see Noah, because Noah and Jimmy, they went on the run, so we get to see Noah very much wanting to just kill. Um, we see Noah want to kill Negan, and Jimmy at first was like, "Yeah, I want to kill him, but what if that makes it worse?" Type thing, and he starts getting cold feet. We get interactions between between these two characters that you wouldn't think would be like friends, but I mean they both had a connection. Well, Jimmy had a connection to Beth in both, and Noah had a connection in the original. They're around the same age, so they're friends. Like I would say Miguel in that kind of friendship too, and Zach are very much they're like they're very good friends. They're like bros with each other. Like they're very good friends. But we get to see Noah in anger, and Jimmy is kind of like, we shouldn't do this, man. With Miguel and Zach kind of on the fence, they don't know what they want to do. And I think that this kind of like friendship between these four guys, this kind of like brother, this like bromance between these four guys, kind of like starting to kind of like fizzle as they decide what they want to do with Negan and with this new gun that they found, but they only have one bullet. They only have one chance. So they're not really sure what they're going to do. And we see shock and horror on everybody in Alexandria as Negan shows up with Sophia. Sophia is back here. But we get to see like all of their reactions to seeing Negan pull up, and it's very much fear and kind of like what's gonna happen? What is he gonna do now? Why is he back? Well, also Dwight, Sherry, and Michelle trying to kind of like avoid him at all costs. Sophia gives Negan the tour. He meets Judith, all that stuff. He heavily hits on Francine instead of Olivia like in the original. He hits on Francine, who he also captured, kind of like held captive a little bit in episode 4, I think. So we kind of get a continuation of that, of like those interactions between the two of them. Um, and that's kind of where the episode ends with Negan kind of like just kind of like having a good time. And that's pretty much where the episode is going to end. Yeah. I think that that's good. I think that's a good ending for the episode, seeing Negan kind of happy in Alexandria. And we see him bring Donnie back, which angers some people. Because who did Donnie killed Tina, which I mean just kind of maybe Miguel kind of had a thing for Tina. Because Miguel was there too, right? It was Miguel and Sherry on that run. Oh, Sherry and Zach. So maybe Zach kind of had a thing for Tina. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because it was Sherry and Zach. Yeah, okay. I like that. Yeah, so Zach seeing Donnie there really makes him mad because he killed the girl that he liked. Um, and he's really mad that Donnie is there. So we kind of get like a kind of like a little rivalry between Donnie and Zach, and then Miguel and Jimmy are trying to prevent Noah from shooting at Negan. And the episode kind of ends. I'm going to change it up a little bit from my plan. The end of the episode is Gavin finding Miranda again and kind of going, "It's time. You're getting out of here." That is where episode 7, Sing Me a Song, is going to end. Um, I really liked this episode. I think it was really interesting. Let me know what you guys thought. And let's jump in to the mid-season finale of season 7, episode 8. Alright, so this episode is very heavy on spins and stuff, and like fun things. So I'm really excited to get right into this episode. This is episode 8, Hearts Still Beating. So this episode is mostly exactly the same. with like the story beats. Rick is out on a run with who? You might be asking. Let's figure that out. So Rick is out on a run, and they find that boat thing. It's gonna be Abe. Ooh, I like that. I like that. I like that. So yeah, so Rick is out on a run with Abraham. We kind of get there, like kind of like a little dynamic thing with them. That's kind of cool. Um, we get to see we get to see kind of like their interactions with each other in the start of the episode before cutting back to Alexandria and the stressful situation that is going on there with Negan being there. So Negan brought his groupies to Alexandria. Again, he's kind of with Judith and Sophia and Francine. They're kind of like together as like kind of like a little grouping there. But we then see somebody walking over with a in a nice shirt and a bottle of alcohol. Now this is going to be taking. We're going to go with. Okay, Miguel. Now this is a death. So Miguel passed this death because he has his plot armor, but he now loses the plot armor. So if it lands on him again, it's going to be Miguel. But it also doesn't really fit the story. Bro, it's Zach. Dude, no. Bro, and we were just setting up like a thing with him and Donnie. Alright, from this point forward, right? I want it to be random, right? But I also want it to kind of make sense. So, we are going to do something. I'm going to give myself 3 vetoes a season. I get 3 vetoes a season. I'll keep a tally mark up in the corner or something of how many we have left. But I'm going to use one of my vetoes on Zach's name right now. Whoever it is next is going to die. I don't want to waste 2 vetoes on one thing. It's Father Gabe. Oh my goodness. So Father Gabe comes up to Negan talking like smack about Rick playing pool with him, and Negan explains to Father Gabe, "You've got no guts," and puts a knife straight in his gut and freaking rips him open or slices him open, and his guts spill on the floor, and everybody's in shock. And then we cut back to Rick getting back to Alexandria, stunned to see Negan there. Him and Abe try and like go through, and they give the supplies, but but after like a little misunderstanding, some of like the saviors start being on Abe, but Abe could easily kick their ass, but decides not to for kind of like for a purpose of pretending to look weak. So Abraham is also very upset about Eugene dying, but he's also smart about this. He knows that he cannot attack them back with his force, otherwise he will be like he could be killed instead. So he doesn't. They hear then we hear a gunshot and cut straight back to Noah. Noah with his gun up, aimed at Negan. Everybody shocked. Negan kind of like what the hell just happened? He looks at Lucille. Lucille's been shot. He's furious. Arat tackles Noah to the ground. And with everybody gathered around, Negan screaming, he tells Arat to shoot someone. And Arat spins around, aims her gun, and fires. Oh my gosh, Owen! Owen, holy crap. Holy crap. Owen falls to the ground. Everybody is stunned as they witness this. Oh my god. What the heck? What is going on? What the hell? Good lord. Everybody is stunned. And Rick gets back. He's furious now. He's like, "What the hell is going on? We had a deal." And Negan explains how Father Gabe was trying to rat on him to get him to kill Rick. So Rick is like, "What? How?" And then he looks over at Owen's body as anger starts to fuel inside of him. Negan calmly tells Rick one more thing. "I'm taking somebody." And he does. He takes somebody. Now, who is it that he is going to take is the question. Trying to think. I feel like it should be a main character. Who is Negan going to take back with him? It's gonna be Clara. Okay. Daryl is definitely not happy about that one. Negan tells Laura and Arat to grab Clara and bring her back to the truck. And Daryl's fueled with anger, tries to charge, but Rick stops him and says, "Just wait, brother. Just wait. We'll get her back." And that's everything that happens at Alexandria. For now, we do have some stuff that happens over at the Sanctuary. So, with everything going on at Alexandria, not as many people are at the Sanctuary. So, Gavin sees this perfect opportunity to grab Miranda and go. But I'm giving Fat Joey, who I love because he's Fat Joey, a chance to survive this. Let's see. Heads, and Fat Joey survives. So Fat Joey survives, joining Gavin on his little rescue slash breakout mission with Gavin and Miranda. So we see Gavin and Fat Joey talking, right? They go into the wives' room. They take Miranda out. The wives are like, "What's going on?" And Gavin just tells them to just shut up and like and just kind of is kind of like a real dick to them. And then her or Miranda and them they go out and they make it to the exit and Gavin says, "Get out while you can. Fat Joey here is going to help you get to safety." All right. And Gavin says how sorry he is. He's like, "I'm so sorry that this happened to you. This isn't what I wanted." And Fat Joey and Miranda make it out of the sanctuary just in time to find Jesus making his way back in. And Jesus takes both of them to Hilltop. And Gavin makes his way back inside. Um, so it's really just kind of like a little like fun thing that they're doing. While this is all going on as well, we actually have somebody who's out on like a little run, trying to find Negan's compound. Well, it can't be Jessie. She's not there. So let's see who it's going to be. This person also ends up finding. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's gonna be. What's it closer to? It's closer to Jackie. It's gonna be Jackie. So we see Jackie. She she's out on a run. She finds this savior in their car, and we see them. They're going. They're oh my God. They're going towards the sanctuary, but then they come into a herd of walkers, and that's when Jackie grabs this savior's weapon as they explain that there's a silencer in the glove compartment. Jackie puts it on and shoots Mara in the head. Now, I believe that Mara is this one. Yeah, this is Mara. So, why do they go in six? So, Mara is killed, and Jackie makes her way back to Alexandria. Now, we also get to see the end of the episode. We see Rick and the rest of Alexandria, everybody, like Dwight, Sherry, Michelle, Aaron, Scott, Annie, Francine, everybody. We see all of them in the church, and Rick gives a speech. "I'm sorry. These past few days I haven't been the leader that you needed. I've been a leader consumed by fear, but not anymore. From now on, we ain't gonna take shit, and we ain't gonna give shit to them. Because we are gonna fight back. We're gonna get, we're gonna get Miranda. We're gonna get Clara. And we're gonna kill Negan. And I'll make sure of that." And that is where episode 8 is going to end. I hope you guys liked episode 8. I thought it was pretty good. The spins and stuff have been pretty good. Um, I mean, like we lost Father Gabe and Owen to like. I mean, Father Gabe was like kind of an important character, but he also it also makes a lot of sense for him to do that. while Owen hasn't really done much. I don't know what he's done really in the group. Kind of just been there as kind of like a form of like Morgan's teachings do work. And I think that's actually a good way for the war to start, actually. For them to start fighting back, because Owen was was one of Rick's last connections to Morgan, and how Morgan taught people about like redemption and stuff. And that died. So now Rick, kind of lost, starts and chooses to fight back finally. So the rest of the season is going to be a lot of fun. Kind of more boring-ish episodes, I would say, but I'm excited to get into the second half of season 7, and I hope you guys are too. Let's get in to episode 9. All right, episode 9, titled "Rockin' the Road." So basically, the episode starts with like a POV of somebody robbing the the pantry, and they're stealing a bunch of food. Who is this gonna be? You know what? It works. All right. So Sophia is caught breaking in to hmm. Okay. Yeah, okay. So Sophia is caught or is stealing food. We watch her as she steals food from the community, and then she drives off um to be seen possibly later on in the video. Tyrese has also made it back to Alexandria at this point, and he's kind of explaining like what's going on. It's a nice reunion with Donna, stuff like that. But the group is very annoyed that Sophia did this, and they're also very much like, why did she do this? Where is she going? We need to find her. So Rick tasks O'Donnell. I'm picking this one because I wanted to. O'Donnell, Scott, Carter, and Dwight to go and find Sophia. So this group is going out to try and find Sophia, just kind of like a little mix and match group. But I think that this does make sense. Like this is like a cool little grouping that we have going on. So the episode is going to be kind of split into two parts or two storylines. The main storyline with Rick going to Hilltop and then eventually going to the Kingdom. And then we have O'Donnell, Dwight, Scott, and Carter going to try and find Sophia and figure out where she took the supplies. Now, so after this small group heads off to find Sophia, Rick is more comfortable leaving Alexandria to go and talk to um frickin' Gregory about joining their fight that they're planning on having against the Hilltop. No, against the Sanctuary and against Negan. Now Daryl's all up to fight because of course they took Clara from him and he wants her back. So Yeah, so we're gonna spin a couple of times here. I'm actually gonna mute this, all right? But we're gonna spin a couple of times here to see who's gonna be joining Rick to go to Hilltop. Okay, well it can't be a her. So that's great. A lot of people not available actually right now. Sherry, okay. Sherry going. Okay, we've got Sherry going. So this small group is going to be Rick, Sherry. Okay, she's already there. I just want 5 people going. So Rick, Sherry, Abraham. Okay, good. Makes a lot of sense. Pegleg Rick, obviously. Obviously, Rick is going. I feel like we should just have Daryl coming along because I think that Rick and Daryl make sense. Wow, okay, that's crazy. This wheel loves Rick. Luckily, he is immune until season 11. So it's gonna be Rosita. Rosita will be joining us. Okay, so we have our 5, but I'm gonna say Jesus. Uh, okay, Sherry's already coming. I just want one more person. Okay, other than Dwight. It has occurred to me that a lot of these characters are not available. Um, but I mean, we have more people that are available than aren't. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. This is getting annoying. Wheel. Come on, dude. Give us someone good. Please. Oh, for the love of God. Alright, I'm giving this one more chance before I just pick. Jim is already there. Alright, I'm giving this one more time because I also have no idea who I would choose to go with. So, Noah. It's Noah. Thank the Lord. It's Noah. We have someone. It's gonna be Noah. So that means that like Jackie and all of these people are left in charge of Alexandria. So I do think that this is a pretty neat group here. I mean, bringing an ex-savior does make a lot of sense to this meeting. But yeah, so this group is actually going to the hilltop right now. So they're at the hilltop. So like they get to the hilltop, they're like chatting and stuff about it. But once they get to the hilltop, they have a very like warm and tearful reunion with Miranda. So everybody's really happy about seeing her, and they get to see Jim and Patricia and Dwight, and it's just a happy reunion with them. Very happy reunion with Miranda. Um, but then they go and they try and talk to Gregory, and Gregory is not having it. He's like, "No, we're not gonna do that." So the group is very annoyed, but they respect it. Jesus is talking like, I'll try and talk to him." But then as they're about to leave, as they leave the house, a group of hilltoppers explain that they want to help fight. So then the group now has the support of most of the hilltoppers, just not Gregory. So that's good. And then Jesus takes this small group to the sanctuary, or oh my God, to the kingdom. So they go to the kingdom. Rick is shocked to see Ron, but very happy. The group attempts to talk to King Ezekiel about joining the fight. Richard is very much like, we should fight, we should join them. And unlike Morgan and the other one, Ron is like, yeah, we should fight. This is what we should do. But King Ezekiel is like, no, we have a we're on good terms with these people. Why would we risk breaking that? Um, but he allows asylum, safe asylum, for both Miranda and Fat Joey. So Miranda and Fat Joey end up staying. Oh, jeez. So they end up staying at the kingdom, but just before they're about to leave, Ron takes Rick to the house where Jesse is staying. They have a very tearful and lovely reunion, but Jesse does not want to leave the house. She's done. She can't do it right now. So she stays in the house. But Ron decides to go back with Rick. So they decide to go back with Rick. So Ron decides to go back. Jesse, Fat Joey, and Miranda are staying in the kingdom area. So Ron will be coming back to Alexandria. I'm just going to put him here. And then this group has officially returned. And that, Jesus, that was episode 9 of this little rewrite. I do hope that you guys liked episode 9. Tell me what you think. Episode 10 is going to be a little bit different, especially with the group that's going, because it's not going to be Rick that's going to be meeting, if you know what happens next, the scavengers. It's not going to be Rick meeting the scavengers. It's actually going to be O'Donnell, Dwight, Scott, and Carter meeting up with the scavengers. So it's going to be a very interesting story. But I guess their storyline right now has just been they've been trying to track the car and track Sophia and try and find her, but they're unable to find her. So they keep looking because they don't want to stop. Carter's like, maybe we should go back and stop. But O'Donnell, Dwight, and Scott are like, no, we need to find her. Rick trusts us to find her. We need to keep finding her. But Carter has always been kind of like iffy on Rick, so he's kind of like he's not sure if he wants to, but he goes along with them. So it's very much kind of like a little fun little dynamic that we have going on with these four trying to find Sophia. Hope you guys did like season 9. Let me know what you guys thought. Let's get straight in to episode 10, shall we? 10, called New Best Friends. So this episode doesn't have any spins in it, but it's got some important story stuff. So let's just jump straight into this. So, excuse me. So Richard, who is this guy, is trying to convince Miranda and Fat Joey to take out a convoy of saviors to hopefully start a war against the kingdom and hopefully like kind of start something and want Ezekiel to fight. And to do that, at first they do agree, to do this, both Miranda and Fat Joey. But then Richard reveals that he plans to create a trail that leads this attack to some to a lady that Ezekiel cares for, not really cares for as in like an emotional state, but he promised Rick that he would look after Jesse. So so he cares for her in that way. So and Miranda knows Jesse. So after finding this out, both Miranda and Fat Joey are like, oh, we don't really want to do this. Miranda because she knows Jesse. She's known her for a while, and Fat Joey is like, I, I don't think Negan would even attack someone and have an innocent woman killed. So they both don't want to do it, but Richard is like, fine, I'll do it myself, and he's about to attack, and they get into a huge fight. And during this fight, Fat Joey is actually injured, but Miranda is able to stop and prevent Richard from doing the attack. So it kind of shows like Fat Joey kind of like coming to the light side more, and it shows Miranda cares about Jesse and like the people of her group and doesn't want this stupid dumbass to ruin that. And Miranda forces Richard to take Fat Joey back to the kingdom because he's hurt, and knowing that Fat Joey is going to be helped, Miranda actually goes to and visits Jesse and tries to convince her to go back to Alexandria with Rick because Rick needs him. Or Rick needs her because right now he's a little crazy with everything going on. He needs her now more than ever. Which Jesse is kind of thinking like I might go back. But Miranda now seeing Richard's plan and not wanting to be here anymore and realizing that Ezekiel will not attack and fight, she decides to go back to the hilltop to help the hilltoppers train and get ready for the attacks and for like the war with the saviors coming up. But before she leaves, she actually goes and we get this really nice moment with her and Fat Joey in the hospital. She thanks him for helping her escape and explains how she's leaving for Hilltop. Fat Joey um, talks about wanting to go with her, but she says, no, you're safer here. And the two have a very heartwarming goodbye before she leaves to go back to the hilltop. Um, but while that's all happening, we actually get a conclusion to a storyline that was also set up last episode with Sophia. So we see O'Donnell, Dwight, Scott, and Carter on the road looking for Sophia. Um, they they're looking, tracking the car. They eventually find it somehow. They find the car. They find no supplies and no sign of Sophia. And then out of nowhere, a giant group comes in and surrounds them and brings them back to this junkyard where they live in. And they find that this group had captured Sophia and taken the supplies. And O'Donnell tries to reason with them to let them go and let them leave with their supplies. But then he starts thinking, there's a huge group of people here. We can use these people in our war against the saviors. So now he's trying to reason with the leader Jadis, the leader of this group Jadis, to let them have or to join their fight against the saviors. And at first they're very much like, we don't want to. We stay here. You go. Stuff like that. But then eventually, after some reasoning, um, they're able to convince them. Um, but then Jadis has a little bit of a surprise, and O'Donnell is pushed into this mountain of garbage into a little arena for a test. And Dwight and Scott immediately are getting ready to fight, but Carter's like, wait, guys, O'Donnell can handle this. He's got this. We need to wait and figure this out. We're outnumbered, and for the first time, Carter is kind of having like a reasonable, like kind of like voice in this, and they calm down. And O'Donnell, we see as O'Donnell fights. I want to say the walker's name was Wilson. Pretty sure it was Wilson. It was like that armored walker. It was super cool looking. He fights him and kills him, and they agreed to help them in exchange for some of the supplies from the Saviors, as well as a bunch of guns. They want a bunch of guns to be able to do this fight. O'Donnell agrees, knowing that they don't have any guns, knowing that the Saviors took all their guns, and even Dwight, Scott, and Carter are like, we don't have any guns. And O'Donnell's like, but we'll find some. So we'll find some way. So then those, so then they leave. They get Sophia back. They get some of the supplies back, but not all of it. And they head off back to Alexandria now with a new alliance and some new friends. So I really like this episode. This might be one of my favorite like rewrites for the episodes because the story is like completely different. Like same story beats, but I mean there's completely different characters. Like Rick never even meets the scavengers yet. Rick hasn't even met the scavengers yet. But I like giving this little side mission, side quest, side storyline to the season to O'Donnell because I feel like he's a good enough character to kind of have like to be the head of his own like side storyline. And I really like that. And I also really like this friendship that we're building with Miranda and Fat Joey. And I think it's just like this cute little friendship that they have. And Miranda going back to the hilltop to help train. And Fat Joey staying and Jesse kind of being like, I might go back. We have a lot of stuff that we have some stuff that we've finished, like the scavenger storyline, or not the scavenger, but Sophia going missing. We finished that little part, but it's also set up some stuff that I'm very excited to get into. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 9. Let me know if you guys did, how you thought about it. Let's get straight in. That was episode 10, bro. What am I talking about? That was episode 10. Sorry if I ever said episode 9. This is episode 10 at New Best Friends. But let's get straight in to episode 11. Let's go. Alright, so these next two episodes are going to be very, very, very simple and very, very short. This is going to be episode 11, Hostiles and Calamities. This episode focuses mainly on Negan trying to figure out who let Miranda escape, while also having Clara, like her experience in here not as one of Negan's wives, but as just a guest. She gets her own room. She's treated very, very well here. Um and obviously by the end of the episode, I know I'm talking about the end of it already. Um well, I guess um Gavin, we see Gavin this episode trying to figure out like who he can put the blame on, and he reluctantly puts the blame on this person, who this person is inevitably thrown into the fire, the furnace by Negan. It's gonna be Regina. So another freaking, oh my gosh, another kind of like, yeah, that's actually crazy. So it's gonna be Regina. So Negan chucks Regina
into the fire. Um, first death of the second half is in episode 11. That's crazy. But Negan chucks Regina into the fire, killing her. And I mean, she was one of Negan's like lieutenants, top lieutenants. I guess it would be pretty easy, and maybe she's replaced by um Laura or a Rot. I might actually flip for that. Let's flip, okay? So heads for a Rot, tails for Laura becomes like his new lieutenant. Uh, heads for Rot, tails for Laura. I'm pretty sure that's what I said. Is that what I said? I don't remember, but it's Laura. So Laura is one of his new lieutenants. So I'm just gonna put all of the lieutenants kind of like right here. Donnie has kind of become one of his lieutenants. I think that that's it really for the lieutenants because it was in like his little meaning things. He had Negan, Gavin, Simon, Regina, I believe, and now it's gonna be Negan, Gavin, Simon, Laura, and Donnie now. So yeah, so that's kind of like Negan's kind of like council or whatever. Simon and Gary are still plotting, their thing that we'll pick up in season 8. But yeah, so Gavin finds a way to blame Regina. Negan's pissed. Negan chucks Regina into the fire, killing her. It's a stupid death. It makes no sense. But it's a lot better than him killing his doctor, which also now means that Negan doesn't need to go in and take the other Dr. Carson because this Dr. Carson is still alive. And is Dr. Carson even on this list? I don't think he is. I don't know why he's not. He's a side savior. Yeah, I think that's Anima as a side savior. But yeah, so that's crazy. Clara watches it, but Clara watches it. Unlike Eugene, where he's kind of cowering and stuff. Clara just watches this happen. She's shocked, but she just watches it happen. And by the end of the episode, Clara says the words. All of this kind of like gets to her head, and Clara says the words, "I am Negan." Um, but unlike Eugene, where we actually do think that it's legit, it it's really stupid, right? But I'm just picturing her. I think that she would be someone to do this. Behind her back, she has her hands, she has her fingers crossed. Cause she's just I just think that'd be kind of funny. She just has her fingers crossed behind her back as she says the words, and it sounds like she means it, but she knows in the back she knows that this is all just a ploy to be able to help her friends. And she can use this to help her friends, and she knows that. Unlike Eugene, Clara is we know from the beginning that Clara is doing this to help her friends, and she's not actually Negan. But that was episode 11. Like I said, very very short. It's not one of the greatest ones. I mean, it's kind of cool with like Gavin and like Negan trying to figure out like who did it. Maybe we get a little bit of more Donnie in this episode. But yeah, so that was episode 11. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Let's get straight in to episode 12. Let's go. All right. This is season 7, episode 12. Jesus. Say yes. So, this episode is all about two people going on a scavenging mission. We're going to figure out those two people in a second, but just to kind of what I would say happened in the background before this episode is O'Donnell, Sophia, Scott, Dwight, and Carter explain to Rick what is going on, and Rick is like, okay, we can do this, we can figure this out. While also Tyrese now tells Rick about Oceanside, um, is like, there were a ton of guns there, if we need more, kind of like that. So Rick and a group of people are preparing to go to Oceanside to get the guns, while Rick sends out two people to go on a scavenging mission to go and find guns right now that they can hopefully like collect and bring back to um, the scavengers. But right now it's really dangerous to leave because they're trying to prepare for the fight, but they know that they need to leave soon, so they're giving the scavengers, or the not the scavengers, they're giving whoever's going on the scavenging mission 3 days to. Oh my God, they're giving them 3 days to find enough guns and bring them back to the scavengers and hopefully get them on their side. Otherwise, they're going to Oceanside to take their guns because they don't really want to mess with another group right now. But if they need to, they will. So we're gonna flip, or we're gonna spin a main and actually a side character right here. So who's the main character gonna be? It's gonna be Deanna. So Deanna is going to be going on this scavenging mission, as well as Tobin. Cool. I like this. Wait, does it make sense for Deanna to really go? She hasn't really done anything. I'm gonna give it to her. So currently in this episode, Deanna and Tobin, give them both something cool to do. Really like that. So we get a little bit dynamic between those two. They're going on a scavenging mission, and they end up finding this. So it's been about 2 days. They're like, we have one more day to do this. Otherwise, an innocent group is going to be like taken out. But we need the guns. So they're. It's a very much like a moral dilemma between the two of them, because they're like we need the guns though. They don't really need them right now. But they're also like, but we need to find guns so that but we need to find guns so that we won't have to take theirs. So they find a little carnival thing that is overrun with walkers, and luckily there are military walkers with guns. So they're gonna start taking them out, and they end up falling through a roof of some kind into a building filled with I believe they're MRIs or MIRs, like military rations, as well as other supplies that they can use to actually like have more supplies for the group, which is super duper good. Um, and they start taking out all of these walkers, and eventually they gather up all of the guns that they can find. There is a scare where Tobin is almost killed, but luckily he's fine. But it also is like they like in the original it's Rick and Michonne, and when Rick almost dies, it's like there's no way they're killing Rick off. But it's like with Tobin, it's like okay, they might actually kill off Tobin here. Oh no, I'm a little bit upset for this character, but he's fine. He lives through this, and he's alive for now at least. Hopefully that stays. But yeah, so Deanna and Tobin, they're successful. They're they go back to the scavengers, and we get this badass Deanna moment where they're like, well, there's not very many guns here, and Deanna just looks at her and just says, just say yes so we can be out of here. And they do agree, but they're like, you need guns too. You find more for you, we help you. Kind of thing. Like they need more guns because they're not letting them take any, back. They're taking like all of them. So now the group only has a couple of guns. So their only option now is to go to Oceanside, which we will do in the next episode. But while that's all going on, we actually have a couple of people who are going to be going to attack Negan. They're sick of waiting. They're ready to attack. But we're actually going to be doing a dice roll for this because some of these characters doesn't make any sense for them to do this. So the characters that I believe are the most angry at Negan and the most willing to betray Rick's orders and actually go out and try and kill him are hmm, I think Daryl is an option. I feel like Ron is an easy one. Abraham, um, wasn't it? Was it Jimmy who was? Jimmy was the one who wanted like the gun, right? Oh my god, I think I might be coming down with a cold. Yeah, it was Noah and Jimmy. So Noah wanted to use the gun, I believe, and Jimmy's was like, maybe you shouldn't. So I think Noah is one of them. Rosita, obviously. Who else died in this by them? Gabriel and Owen as well died. So I think Denise would be kind of angry about Owen dying. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, but I think the main ones that are angry are Daryl. So how many do we have? We have one, two, three, four, five, six. So we have six right now. Seven, eight, nine. We could do these three as well. I think any one of them would be willing to kill Negan. Maybe not Dwight. Maybe not Dwight and Sherry. I think Michelle would be though. I think Michelle would be up for it. So we've got one and oh wait, who are the other two? It was Miguel and Zach. So I'm gonna say that Jimmy's the main one that's like we shouldn't do this, but Miguel and Zach maybe like we should. So I'm gonna do one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Okay, we need one more person. One more person that would make a lot of sense. Maybe we could do Oscar. Well, hmm, hmm. Maybe we could do like Annie or something, because maybe like Annie had feelings for Owen or something, or Gabe or someone like that. So yeah, so okay, so basically in that order, except for Michelle is 10, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, what? 1, 2, oh, 3, yeah, Oscar. Okay, and we are gonna flip two D10s, right? Roll. So it's gonna be 2 and 10. So it's gonna be Michelle and 2 to Miguel. Michelle and Miguel going out as a duo. Oh, right. Holy crap. All right. But yeah, so Michelle and Miguel decide that they're gonna go out and take out Negan. Miguel really wants to get back for them taking Clara, them killing these people. Miguel is just angry at this point, and he's done being the nice kid. He wants to get revenge, and Michelle is like, "I will help you do this." And Michelle is like, "I will take you to him." So these two go on a little adventure to the sanctuary. They get prepared, and they're preparing for the journey to go and kill Negan. And this episode ends with the two of them leaving as Deanna and Tobin get back. So Deanna and Tobin are back, which is great. And Michelle and Miguel are leaving. So that was episode 12. Pretty short one as well. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys think about these two going on a little mission, as well as Deanna and Tobin going on a little mission thing there. I think that this is gonna be a cool dynamic. Let me know what you guys think about this episode, and let's get straight in to episode 13. All right, so we're gonna be doing episode 13. Bury Me Here. So this episode is gonna be like pretty much exactly the same. Um, but we're going to be kind of getting this in more of the view of Jessie. So we see Jessie return to the kingdom. She expresses that she wants to leave, but is then asked to tag along on a routine offering to the saviors. Jessie accepts and they head off to the usual meeting spot. This routine, like offering a meetup, is made deadly when it's revealed that they are actually missing a melon. Gavin reluctantly tells Jared to kill someone. Alright, so I have all of the people from the kingdom here. Just gonna meet that really quick. And we're just gonna roll. Who is Jared going to kill? So it's gonna be Daniel. Alright, so Daniel is killed by Jared. Everybody is very hurt, but Jesse is immediately suspicious of this person. Who is it going to be? Who is it going to be that killed that stole it? Oh my gosh, is it going to be Richard? Okay, whoops, that landed on Nabila, so we're going to get rid of her. That is crazy. So Jesse is immediately very suspicious of Nabila. She's acting weird, and Jesse kind of like talks to Nabila, and it is revealed that Nabila took one of the melons because she wanted to be killed, hoping that she would be the one killed, hoping that she would be the one killed. Uh, Jesse at the next meetup snaps and kills this person, or kills Nabila, um, because she had gotten an innocent person killed. Um, and Jesse then convinces Ezekiel to fight. And she actually decides to stay and help the kingdom prepare for this fight. Um, so that's episode 14 or 13. Bury Me Here. Very quick episode. That's pretty much all that happens. Daniel dying is a little upsetting. I liked Daniel in the original, but fucking Nabila being the one to basically get him killed is kind of funny. That's kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. So Nabila is dead, and so is Daniel. So that means that Jerry doesn't have his Boothang. Maybe Jerry will find a different Boothang. We'll see if he even survives. Um, yeah, so that was episode 13. Bury me here. Let's get straight on to episode 14. Right, episode 14, The Other Side. Before we do that, I did actually forget to do this. So Jared kills Daniel, and Gavin is very, like, he didn't want to, but to keep up appearances, he needed to. And then oh, I've lost her. There she is. Nabila is killed by Jesse. That is crazy. That is a crazy kingdom deaths. But all right, let's get on to episode 14, The Other Side. I want to do the hilltop stuff first, because that's not the juicy stuff. So, um, in Hilltop, we see that Miranda, Patricia, and Jim, all three of them, need to hide from the Saviors as Simon makes a surprise visit to look for any Alexandrians or any kind of like hint that the Hilltoppers might be joining Alexandria. So Simon comes in, and our three heroes here need to go and hide. Dwayne helps distract some of the saviors. Um, like he helps distract from finding the three of them, kind of like how Enid did um, in the original, but actually succeeds in doing so. If I remember correctly, the savior does go down anyways, but Dwayne actually succeeds in preventing him, and it's just kind of like a cool scene of Dwayne kind of like saving them. We also see Gregory is kind of trying to stand up for his people when one of the saviors tries to rob or like take something away from one of his people. Gregory kind of stands up for them a little bit, but not much. And then that's when Simon gives him the invite for if you hear anything, see anything, come to the sanctuary and we can talk about it. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the hilltop stuff. Now we have the actual juicy stuff, which is of course our Michelle and Miguel duo heading off to kill Negan. So both Michelle and Miguel leave Alexandria. They head on the road to the sanctuary. Both they bond as they talk about their families and loved ones dying. We hear Michelle talk about her boyfriend's death. Pretty sure her boyfriend is dead. He also might still be alive at the sanctuary. I'm not sure, but maybe we can change it. Like that's why she was so eager to leave and like join our group is because her boyfriend died because he didn't get the care that he needed there and they were being selfish. We can change it into like that kind of story. But Miguel talks about how at the beginning he was part of a group, um, but this group was taken out by a crazed madman who called himself the governor. Now, I'm pretty sure that it's rumored to actually be like either the governor or like Randall's group, but I kind of want to make it the governor because I think that's kind of cool. Even though the governor is long dead, we're still getting mentions of the governor and, of course, of Miguel's past. But as they get closer to the sanctuary, they um they end up seeing like an opening, an area where they can actually sneak in. Um, and they take out one of the saviors that's there. I'm pretty sure he's just an unnamed one, so I'm not gonna roll for saviors because because I don't wanna because we're gonna have a lot of rolls for saviors in season 8. So, but yeah, so they take out a savior, then we see that someone slips in as the other watches, and the one that slips in locks the fence behind them, preventing the other from being able to escape. Now, how are we going to do this? We're gonna flip a coin, of course. But Mich- all right, we're gonna tails, heads. Oh my God. No way. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no, wait. Uh, Oh my God. Oh my God. Holy crap. Holy crap. So, Miguel, Miguel is currently at the sanctuary. He's inside the sanctuary, and he locks Michelle out, and Michelle starts heading back to Alexandria. That's crazy. Holy crap. Um, all right. Though, when Michelle is about to leave, she notices a shadow of someone standing behind her. Um, and it's Gavin. Um, Holy crap. That's okay. All right. So Miguel is currently at the sanctuary, and Michelle and Gavin are on their way back to Alexandria. That was episode 14. I hope you guys did like that. Let me know what you guys think. Again, very short episode, 13, 14, very short. Let's just get straight into episode 15. Right. So, episode 15, titled Something They Need. The group is heading towards Oceanside to gather up the guns that Oceanside has. Uh, they go in. It's a bunch of them, like Rick, Daryl, like everybody pretty much. They're in there and they're taking out, or not taking out, but capturing all of the people from Oceanside. And we see Tyrese kind of like having that conversation with Cindy and her grandmother. Um, and he apologizes to her. Though Natanya actually gets the upper hand on Tyrese and tries to bargain with the others for them to leave. Otherwise, she's going to kill Tyrese. Now we know that that's definitely not going to work because Rick's not going to let that happen. So, luckily, somebody is our sniper. Somebody's our sniper. Who's our sniper? Rosita? Rosita, yeah. Rosita's like up in a tree ready to snipe someone. So they're they're getting ready to snipe, and out of nowhere a bunch of barnacle sea, sea walkers come out of nowhere and start attacking. And our group and the Oceansiders actually need to work together to take out all of the walkers. And then they're like allowed to take the guns. Not really allowed, but they end up taking the guns. And and now our group is ready to fight, but not after asking the Oceansiders if they would like to join them in their fight, which Natanya says no. Now we have the sanctuary stuff. So back at the sanctuary, Miguel is currently being kind of like put in a cell, kind of like Sasha was in the original, right? But somebody's being a little too pushy with Miguel. And let's see who that is. It's gonna be Mel. Okay. So it's gonna be Mel the Saber. Okay, Mel. It's gonna be Mel. So Mel actually is being very pushy against Miguel, but Negan comes in and he's like we don't do that, and he kills her before apologizing to Miguel for his person's actions, and Miguel is like, you're not really sorry. You're a monster. You killed two of my friends. And Negan's like, I did what I had to do to get you guys to listen. And tomorrow I might have to do the same thing, 'cause you people are just not listening. So we get like a pretty nice scene, a pretty cool, tense scene between Negan and Miguel before Negan leaves, and then Clara makes her way down because she's tricked them into thinking that she's one of them. Miguel is like, Clara, you need to get me something that I can use to hurt Negan. But Clara knows that she can't get him like a weapon because if he's caught with a weapon, they'll know that she had something to do with it. But she also knows that the weapon will probably just be found and taken away. So she needs to do something that they aren't going to find. So Clara goes in to Dr. Carson's office in like the hospital area, and she steals a bunch of pills for him, and she gives those to Miguel to use. And we see Miguel sit there looking at the pills, realizing what he's gonna have to do. And then at, to end the episode, we see Michelle returning back with Gavin, or we see Rick going in to interrogate Gavin, and they're like, where's Miguel? And Michelle's like, he went in by himself. I couldn't stop him. And Rick is kind of like talking to Gavin. Gavin's telling Rick about the plan, like about what he thinks the plan is for tomorrow and all that stuff before inevitably saying like, I'm on your side. And he is sent back to the sanctuary to do more recon and not have it look as suspicious that he's gone. But that is episode 15, Something They Need. Um, these last three episodes have been kind of meh. I think the story behind like Miguel going in, it kind of fits. I mean, Enid was kind of like I mean Eugene was a friend. Enid was kind of a friend, I guess. I mean, I guess maybe Miguel had a thing for Holly. I don't know. I mean, maybe Miguel could have had a thing for Holly. I don't know. But yeah, so that's what we have so far, getting ready for the season finale. And let's just jump right in to season 7, episode 16, the season finale. Season 7, episode 16, the first day of the rest of your life. So we're going to open the exact same way with Miguel in the coffin. We see a couple of characters. Well, we see one character return. Um, we get a flashback of a conversation with him and Holly. Because, like I said before, there's going to be. I'm having it where Miguel and Holly were kind of like having like a little bit of like a friendship relationship, and then she was killed and stuff. So, um, yeah, but we get to see like a really nice conversation with them, um, laughing, having a good time. Then we see Zach, Noah, Jimmy come in, and like they're all having like just this really good time. And then we see Miguel take the pills, swallows all of them. Then he closes his eyes. So the group gathers up the scavengers, then gets ready for the saviors to arrive. Rosita sets up the explosives that they had found on the highway, and the group awaits for the saviors to arrive. Now, we actually have to do our first spin of the finale. There's a couple. We have who is going to be on the roof, like in the sniper's perch, I guess you could say. Okay, well, it can't be Dwayne. Dwayne's not there. Starting off the finale with a bang with a impossible choice. That's lovely. We love that. Sherry? Ooh, okay. I actually like this. See Sherry up there, like getting up ready to snipe some people. It's kind of cool. Alright, so then just before the saviors arrive, we see Rick send Ron away to protect Judith and the other kids and people who can't fight, because he doesn't want his new son in this fight. Um, he also wants somebody to protect the people that can't fight, even though there's not really any like people that really can't fight because the two old people are already dead. Whatever, it's fine. Probably Reg and Deanna probably aren't there. Well, maybe. I'm not sure. Well, I'll let you guys decide. Do you think Reg and Deanna are there? Because in the plans, they don't really appear at all. I mean, most of the characters, they don't like really appear. Um, but we get like a really nice moment between Ron and Rick. They hug. And Rick tells Ron that he loves him, and that's like the first time that that's happened, and it's a really, really special moment. And Ron says, "I love you too," and he says, and it's just like a really nice moment. Um, but the saviors arrive, and the group they're stunned to see Clara at the front of it, and Clara tries talking the group down, right? She gives like a speech, kind of like Eugene does, like you guys shouldn't do this. This is bad. Join Negan. Um, but at the same time, she's also giving Rick a smile, letting her know that she knows what's going on. Cause like Gavin would have explained it to her as well. Then Negan comes on and explains how they have Miguel, and they're not afraid to kill him unless they put their weapons down and rejoin their little trading community, then they'll let him live. And he promises that he will let Miguel live. Whoa. Daryl looks through the gate at Clara as their eyes meet, and Clara smiles at him and winks. And Daryl knows that something's wrong, but he holds back his tears, but one does slip through. Then she looks back up at Rick and nods at him. Then After getting the go-ahead from Rick, Rosita presses the trigger for the explosives. But nothing happens, and suddenly Jadis and the scavengers betray the group and hold all of them at gunpoint. Luckily, though, just as Negan is about to open the coffin to kill Miguel, a zombified Miguel tackles him as he opens the coffin. Another savior jumps in to save Negan, but is killed. This doesn't really matter too much, but let's just see who this is going to be. Let's see what savior this is going to be. It's gonna be John. All right, it's gonna be John. All right, John. John is this one. So it's gonna be John. So John grabs onto the zombified Miguel, pulls him off of Negan, but in that moment he is also killed, and sadly we can move Miguel up there. A full firefight breaks out between the groups. Several members of each group are taken down, with Sophia. I'm pretty sure Carl also does this, with Sophia taking the first couple of shots. She's like the first one to start firing back. The Alexandrians, though, fall back as they are quickly outmatched and outnumbered. Rose Sherry then starts fighting with the scavenger that was on the roof with her. We see everyone scatter as a couple people are shot and killed. Um, so I'm gonna do. We're not having any or more main characters killed, alright? Don't worry. But a side character will be killed here. And I'm very, very, very scared on who this is going to be. Oh my gosh, it's Michelle. Oh my gosh. So it doesn't matter. Wow. Alright, Michelle is shot and killed. Michelle is shot and killed as Noah, Jimmy, and Ty just freeze and are shocked as they watch them die. Now we have another death here. This is going to be just like a random Alexandrian, which there aren't too many left, but I actually need to set up the third wheel to be that, so give me like 2 seconds. Alright, this person will also be shot and killed in this whole firefight. No, it's going to be Barnes. That kind of sucks, but I mean, he's not too big of a character, but I mean, it is sad to see. I mean, he's been around for a little bit. What the hell? What the heck? What is this? He's been around for a little bit, so you know, it's kind of unfortunate to see him die. But so we lost Michelle and Barnes in this. It's not too big, but you know. And again, Noah, Jimmy, and Ty are shocked as they watch Michelle be shot down. Um, Negan then captures Dwight and Rick and is about to kill him. And Negan is about to kill Dwight, but they look over as a figure falls from the tower. Dwight is furious as he watches Sherry fall to the ground. Negan makes jokes as Dwight gets more and more angry. He then forces Dwight to kneel by smashing his leg with Lucille. Negan then raises Lucille and is about to swing at Dwight's head. Suddenly, though, Shiva jumps onto a savior. We see both the Kingdom and Hilltop arrive to help, with Miranda, Jim, and Patricia leading Hilltop, while King Ezekiel, Jesse, and Fat Joey lead the Kingdom. With their newfound strength, the Alexandrians are able to fight back and force the Saviors and Scavengers to retreat. We see we get the end of the episode is kind of like a little montage of like things that like happy moments and stuff. We see, well, sort of happy moments. We see Noah, Jimmy, and Zach go out into the woods to look for Miguel, and they find him and put him down. We see Dwight run up to the tower, or we see Dwight run over to the large apartment building tower thing that Sherry and this other scavenger were fighting on. And we see that it was in fact Farron, the scavenger, that was killed, not Sherry. Dwight rushes up to find Sherry beaten brutally, and he just embraces her before bringing her down to see Denise. We see a really sweet moment with Ron and Jesse reuniting, and Rick and Jesse hugging, and the group just being together for the first time all together in a long time. And then we cut to Patricia giving a speech. And we see that she's giving this beautiful speech while holding on to her stomach, getting ready to eventually have her baby. And that is where season 7 ends. I thought that this was a pretty good season. Definitely had its ups and downs, but I definitely think that this was a very fun season to do. Let me know what you guys thought about this new structure of me just recording an episode and then like kind of like this way. It definitely saved on my time because it's super easy to edit these. I just plop them in, put the episode titles, and then boom, we're ready to go. But at the same time, I also need to come up with like what I'm gonna have the characters do and stuff. And also, let me know if there's any like major contradictions that I make, because there's definitely probably gonna be some. But I hope you guys did go on to enjoy season 7 of The Walking Dead, which I think was pretty good. Season 8 is going to be an absolute bloodbath for everybody involved. Nobody is going to be safe. So, I hope you guys did go on to enjoy this, and I will see you guys when season 8. Bye bye.